Well, good morning everybody. How are you doing? Hope you're really well. So I'm just back from Pilates this morning. Had a really beautiful session. I have a one-to-one on a Monday morning with Rebecca, my instructor, and I really feel I've been doing it for about 9 months and I'm really progressing well and I'm feeling stronger and I'm starting to advance up a little bit. So it's great. It's a great thing to do very early on a Monday morning. So I usually, after my session, have a shower at the gym and get ready. I did have a shower, but I didn't have a chance to do my skincare or anything because I had to quickly run to the doctor. So I'm home now, and I thought that for the first time in a very long time, I would do a get ready with me. I haven't done one of those for probably 3 years. It's been a long, long time. So I'm starting off with some skincare. People ask me all the time, can you tell us your skincare secrets and everything you do to make your skin the best that it can be? And I have to say that I don't really do anything too special. It's not like I'm using thousands of expensive creams, but the things that I do are consistent. And I've talked about this quite a lot, but one of my very favorite skincare heroes, sensations, is my Foreo Sweden products, and in particular the FAQ 202 LED mask, which I've been using probably now for, it's coming up to about 3 years that I've been using this. I use this mask 2-3 times a week. The great thing about it, because it is, you don't have to plug it in or anything to use it. You do to charge it, but to use it you don't have to. So you can wear it, it's lightweight, you can put it on, make yourself a coffee, make the bed, get your outfit ready for the day, just get on with life whilst this is doing its magic. So yeah, this is an LED light therapy mask, and what it does, it controls redness, it makes your skin more luminous, it decreases fine lines and wrinkles, it makes your skin more healthy and more glowing. And I have to say that when people ask me, what is it that you do for your skin? Apart from a little bit of Botox every 3 months, which stops lines forming, I think that this has been the thing that has made my skin its very, very best. So I always love to shout out of the rooftops about this FAQ 202 mask. I also have 2 other Foreo products. I have the Luna 4, which is this, and this is just a facial cleansing device. So a really good clean for your skin, which is important. And then I also have the UFO 3. So this is like an at-home face mask. You put the Foreo have these little masks. They have different masks that you put onto this plate and you give yourself an at-home facial. So I do that probably once a week as well, but really my go-to is the FAQ 202. So I'm going to show you how this works. You've got the FAQ Foreo app on your phone, on your smartphone. You don't need your phone to use this. You can do it without, but I always like to do it with. And then on the app, you can have various different treatments. It connects to the mask and you can choose which treatment that you want to do. So I am going to do this morning a repairing treatment. So this uses red, orange and yellow LED light, and it says this is the optimal treatment to combat natural signs of skin damage from sun exposure, pollution, lack of sleep and stress. So it was the weekend. I went out for dinner on Friday night. That was a late one. And then I had drinks with some friends on Saturday as well. And then yesterday I was out at a friend's in Glasgow. So it was a very, very busy weekend, not relaxing in any way. So I just think that a repairing treatment before I do my morning makeup or whatever will be great. So before we begin the mask, I like to use the FAQ Red Light Peptide Serum. Now this just supercharges the effectiveness of the mask and just makes sure that every treatment that you have, it's just going to give it an acceleration and a boost. And also I like to just give a little bit of moisture to the skin, which this does as well. So the mask is on, and it does look a little bit strange, but you get used to it, and honestly, for the benefits to your skin, you're not really going to be bothered about that. So on my smartphone, I am going to start this treatment. It's a 15-minute treatment, and like I said, you can go about your day, get on with everything, and it just doesn't really interfere with your routine. So it starts off with the red LED light, NIR and red light, and this is to improve fine lines, sunspots, wrinkles and sagging, it can be used with any other LED light colour. So I'm going to carry on with this treatment. After that we have an orange LED light and a yellow to stimulate collagen, to improve the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, and just to give your skin an overall boost of radiance. So this is going to last 15 minutes. I'm going to get on with the day, and I will come back to you when I am done. So that is the treatment complete. It was 15 minutes, quite relaxing. You can just get on with what you're doing and yeah, just get on with your morning. So I'm delighted to let you know that if you would like to check out any of the Foreo products for yourselves, I have an amazing spring discount to share with you. Foreo are offering 30% off almost all of their products, including the FAQ 202 and other bestsellers. If you would like to take advantage of this 30% off, all you need to do is click the link in the description box and enter code NICK30 at checkout, or you can scan the QR code that is on screen. And the other wonderful thing is that this discount also applies to already discounted items. So for example, if there's an item on the website that has 20% off, with my 30% you get 50% off, which is a really great bargain to get one of these amazing Foreo products. So yeah, if you would like to check them out, please do. Click the link in the description box. NICK30 is your code, or you can scan the QR code that is on the screen. I would highly recommend checking these out. As I said before, this is really my skincare secret weapon. Okay, now the treatment is complete. Let's get on with doing the rest of my makeup. So I wear a very simple makeup look every day just to make me feel my best. It doesn't take me very long and I don't really use that many products. So I always start off with this Boots moisturizing cream. Now this costs... So this is a really, really simple moisturiser. I think it costs about £2, but I like that it's very rich and that I can use a lot of it without breaking the bank. And I've been using it for so long, for about 10 years, and it just never makes me break out, and I just really like it. So I put quite a big amount on my hands, and then I'm just pushing it into my skin. Now, we've just done that mask, and that had the peptide serum. So that is also on my skin as well. And it's okay to layer those things up. So I just like to get a really nice moisturising cream onto my face. This feels quite thick and luxurious. I did use creme de la mer for a little bit because I got sucked into that whole marketing of it being very expensive and so the best. I'm not sure how good it is. I guess you have to wait for years to see the results. But for me, this is just a very rich cream that doesn't break the bank, that I can just use liberally and not feel guilty about using it. So that's why I like it. Left that to settle in for a little bit, and now I'm going to use my foundation, which is Chanel Latent Velvet. This is a blurring smooth effect foundation, velvet matte finish. Now I used to use another Chanel foundation. I've been using Chanel foundation since I was about 16. I don't know how I used to afford it back then, but somehow managed to make it work. And I like this one because it is very matte and kind of, in a way, chalky. And so it stops you from looking all glossy and makeup-y. So I use a little tiny amount like that. That will do my whole face. And it just gives that matte, chalky look that I like, rather than being too glossy and luminous. And I know that sounds strange, because some people want to look that way, but I want to look more more matte, I think, and more like real skin. So I just use this under my eyes very sparingly, and I stipple it on like this, and then I just stipple that down onto the rest of my face. I use very little because I don't really like to look like I'm wearing a lot of makeup when I do this. It's kind of just to enhance skin that you already have. And what I also do is I avoid my nose, because I think that is a real dead giveaway that you are wearing makeup. And not that I don't want people to know, but I just want it to look as natural as possible. So I think if you avoid the nose, I've got freckles on my nose, it really gives you that very natural look then. People can't really tell whether it's makeup or whether it's just your beautiful skin. So yeah, I have been wearing makeup since I was about 16, like I mentioned, 15, 16, and I've always kept things very, very simple. I don't really do anything like contouring or highlighting. I just like to, I want my skin to look beautiful and smooth and clear, and I found that this is the way that it works best for me. The clocks went forward yesterday, spring, forward, fall, back. Yeah, they went forward yesterday, and it was such a wonderful thing. When I was on the train back home from Glasgow at about 6 o'clock, it was so bright and light, and it just really makes it just does something to your body chemistry where you think, oh my gosh, everything's bright and light and there's so much to look forward to. So I'm very happy. I always love this time of year. I don't really like it in the winter when the clocks go back and it's really dark at like 3 p.m. But I do love the spring when everything goes beautiful and bright. So you might not even be able to see any difference because I don't really use that much. That amount that I put on my hand, I just keep dabbing, and I mostly focus on my under eye area where I have a bit of redness, and then I just stipple it, but really not using too much foundation. And then what I do is I put a little bit of the moisturiser onto the tips of my fingers, and then I rub this into my brow. So I've talked about my brows quite a lot. They don't really exist. Ever since I was a little boy, I've had very sparse brows that don't really have any shape, and a lot of people have said, oh, it could be a thyroid issue, but I've had this my whole life. In fact, I went to the doctor this morning for some blood tests last week, just a checkup. I like to check everything's okay, and they said everything was absolutely perfect, including my thyroid, because I was losing a bit of weight, but I've had a bit of stress, so maybe that's the reason why. And then whilst this is still in my brow, I like to use this Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pencil. I find this to be the best one. And this is dark brown. So I've been using this for probably 3 years as well. And whilst the moisturiser is still in my brow, I'll give it a little bit of a brush up. And then I am going to use a mirror because I won't be able to see what I'm doing. This is my Empress Sisi mirror that I got when I was in Vienna with Nathan, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I like these because you get the applicator, which is very nice to use, and it gives you that more polished look. And I just literally do wisps of hairs like this in all of the places where they are lacking, and it just helps to, I think brows really frame the face and just change everything up. And I can see in the mirror now that I probably need to go and get my eyebrows groomed a little bit because they're becoming a little bit unruly underneath here. So yeah, very lightly, very small strokes. It's very easy with brows to make them look a little bit ridiculous. I've done that many times in the past, and sometimes when I'm rushing, I rush out the gym and then I get home and I think, oh my God, I've walked home in front of all these people, seeing people I know, and I've got these big, thick pencily brows. So you have to be careful when you're doing that. And then the final product that I use is this Chanel Le Beige. This is like a blush. It's a liquid water fresh blush. How the foundation is chalky and very matte, this is very watery liquid. You can see, if I can just, it's got those little beads in it. It's so fluid. And this is what gives me such a nice glow, I think. And I only use a tiny amount like that. And I spread it across my hand. It's very hard to see. And this just gives you that glow. So you've got a nice base. So you've got a nice chalky base, and then this goes on top. And I just do that on my cheekbones here. Again, stippling. And I put some on my nose. Just everywhere that the sun would hit, and then a bit here as well. And whenever I getting ready and I think, it's not, my makeup isn't really looking very great today, I get to this part and everything just comes together. So I have to remember now that, yeah, it's that I'm missing my glow from this blush, and that's it. I don't really use any more than that. You can see that I've used it all up. And yeah, you get that lovely, beautiful glow. A new thing that I've been doing recently, because my lashes seemed a bit flat, is I use a eyelash curler now. And I used to do this a lot and stopped, but it actually makes such a huge difference. I would never wear mascara because I think on a guy it can look a bit strange, especially if you have more soft features like me. I already have a very feminine face. But just doing this eyelash curl really makes a big difference and just opens up the eyes and makes everything look so much more beautiful. That is pretty much my look. It is super easy, simple, takes about 5 minutes when I'm doing it on my own. And yeah, my makeup, they probably hate me where I go shopping at Harrods for my makeup because I'm only there probably twice a year. I hardly ever have to spend any money on makeup because I just use so little. This, by the way, is intensive lip mask from the White Company. This is, I don't know which flavour, but I always like to keep my lips moisturised as well. I think that is a thing that really can enhance your look, even when your lips are hydrated. So that is everything done. Very simple. I'm feeling fresh and bright for the day. My hair is growing out quite nicely and it just does this thing where it looks great. So yeah, I'm ready to start my day. I've had a great morning so far. Pilates, been to the doctor, skincare. Now I'm going to get on with everything else. Almost forgot to mention my fragrance of choice for the day. This is called Apom. And this is by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. So this is a new one. I bought this with my hard-earned cash. It's quite expensive for this little bottle. I think it's about £250. But APOM is an acronym and it means a part of me. And I just really thought this was such a beautiful fragrance. I don't really find new ones that often, but I smelt this in Harrods Beauty and I walked away, sprayed it on my skin, walked away, and I've kept, wow, I'm thinking it's so beautiful, so I bought it. It has orange blossom, lavender, and ambery wood accord. And it's just one of those very beautiful, unisex, clean, but not too clean fragrances. And I am getting a crazy amount of compliments when I wear this one. And what I also love about this is that you only need a tiny, tiny bit and it just lasts the whole day. I don't usually smell my own fragrance, but I can with this one, maybe because it's new as well. But yeah, it's a beautiful one. So that is Apom from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, a new favourite. So, I wanted to use today's video to talk about something that we all go through, which is grief and sadness. Now, when I started this channel, I never really planned to be kind of a guru who imparts all of my wisdom and advice, but as this channel has progressed and grown and I've got to build an audience who really do communicate with me and, reach out to me, over the years I've realised that there are so many people out there who do appreciate some advice, some guidance of things that you may have been through to help them. And one of the things that I've noticed over the last few months since a lot of sadness has entered my life is that people have messaged me quite regularly to ask about how I deal with sadness and grief. So I just thought that for today I would share some of the ways that I have got through more difficult periods in my life and how I reframe sadness and grief to help me to push through with life, to deal with sadness and to move on so that I can be not happy, but I can be content with life once again, and happy also. But what I think the most important thing to say is that we see a lot that we're supposed to be happy all of the time, and I've realised in my life that it's just good enough to be content. If you're content with life and you feel calm, you don't always have to be happy. Life is such a huge, varied, big thing that to be constantly happy is simply unrealistic. And I think that is the very first thing that I wanted to say, because even though sometimes it may appear that you see everybody online, on social media, constantly happy, having the best lives, it is not the case. People have highs and lows always, and even through extreme periods of happiness, there's going to be something that is bothering people that is not so great, and that is because we are all human beings and we are alive. And when we talk about grief and sadness, it's not always something huge. It doesn't always have to be a huge thing that's happened in your life where you're feeling extremely sad. Sometimes you can just feel a little bit flat and a little bit low, and it can go on for a little bit of time, and it's not a nice feeling to sit with. So whether you have experienced a big sadness or a lot of grief, or whether you're just feeling a little bit flat and low, I think to understand how you can reframe that, and not just reframe it, accept it and deal with it, is really helpful. And it's something that I've had to learn through just living. So if I can impart some of my wisdom and advice with you all, then I think that is a nice way to spend this video. So I hope that you will appreciate this and find it useful. So the first thing that I wanted to share that has really helped me when it comes to sadness and grief is how you look at it. So this year, it's only March, and I lost my auntie, I lost Sophie, and then I've had a few other things happen in my life, in my personal life, that have really been not very nice, where it's been not the best start to the year. And some of those things I've had to deal with on my own without real closure. Things like people dying, you can get closure from that because there's a funeral, there's an ending, and you come to a point where you feel acceptance of the loss. Other things in your personal life, perhaps somebody has wronged you or they've left without an explanation. It can be a lot of things. You might not be able to get closure, and you have to deal with it in a certain way. So the first thing that I think is very important to tell yourself is that this is not a spell of bad luck. When all of these things have happened to me over the last few months, I've had a few people say to me, "Oh my gosh, you're having such bad luck." And I think what I do immediately is say, no, 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 no. I don't believe in bad luck. I believe that we are just living. So if you think that you're going through bad luck and you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm having such bad luck," it's not going to make you feel any better. You're going to feel like everything's out of your control and that you can't really stop these things from happening. That is not going to help anybody, and it's going to make you feel really awful. So I think what to do is to tell yourself, I'm not going through bad luck, I'm going through life. With me, my auntie died. She was unwell, she wasn't healthy, and even though she died very suddenly, she wasn't well. So that was a natural thing to happen. People sadly pass away and die. Sophie dying, she was almost 15 years old, she had numerous health problems. I knew the time was coming that she was going to die. So again, not bad luck. A dog naturally coming to the end of their life. Just so happens that it was a few weeks after my auntie passing away. And then other things that have happened in my life as well. There are people out there who are perhaps don't know what they want in their life, or they don't know how to deal with certain things. So if they're not treating you how you want to be treated, then it is not really a bad luck happening to you. It's just that this person was not the right person at that time. I'm just giving a very broad example here. So those are 3 things that have happened all at the same period of time. It would be very easy to see them as bad luck, but really reframe that, throw away the bad luck. It's just a succession of things that have happened in life, and that is what life is. It is filled with sad moments, frustrating moments, things out of our control, but it is also filled with wonderful things. So I think if you can reframe bad luck as just life, that will really help you to feel like, oh, I'm not somebody who is going to go through more and more of this stuff. I'm not somebody who has bad luck. I'm somebody who is just alive and living. And that has really helped me. So whenever someone says to me, oh, you're having such bad luck, I really just shut that down immediately, and I try to teach them that, no, it's not bad luck, it's just living, and that's what we are. That's what we have to do as humans. We just have to live and go through these things. And I think when you accept that, it is incredibly grounding, because then it puts the control back in your hands rather than in some fate or some destiny. And if you feel that way, it's very unnerving. If you feel, oh my gosh, I'm waiting to see what fate delivers me, then you're always going to be nervous, anxious, and you're never going to feel content or happy. So claim back your power and see this as life, not as bad luck. That is my number 1 tip first. The next thing I want to talk about is how I stay calm and how I deal with sadness and grief when I'm going through it. So once I've accepted that I'm not having a period of bad luck and that I'm just going through life, then it's time to think about how you deal with this sadness or this grief. Now, one of the things that I see all the time is that you are supposed to be happy, you're supposed to get on with life, and you're supposed to really fight your way through sadness and grief. And that is something that I've tried to do in the past when I've dealt with sadness, but I realise that if you do that and you don't sit down with yourself and really deal with what you're going through, then it's always going to come back and you have to deal with it later on. So what I will say is that people will tell you, oh, come on, pick yourself up, you're going to be fine, get on with it, get on with life. Maybe it will help you in the short term, but in the long term, you're going to have to deal with whatever it is that you have gone through. So for me, what I decided to do was, instead of trying to fight those feelings of sadness and grief, is to just get through them, live through them as they happen, and accept them. So when Sophie died, I had periods where I was feeling extremely sad, and then I'd have periods where I was feeling a little bit happy and nostalgic, thinking about the life that she lived. And then I had periods where a friend would take me out for dinner or for a drink, and I didn't think about Sophie at all. And that is completely normal. So when those sad feelings do come, instead of trying to push them away because you want to get on with your life, think, yeah, I'm feeling really sad. And think about what it is that's making you sad, and just, if you need to cry, sit there and cry. You may cry for an hour, a few hours, and then you'll feel a lot better, and then the next day you'll feel happy. So instead of trying to run away from your grief, take it in, process it, and just go through it, and just think of it as, life is sometimes really sad, it's sometimes really great. We have to go through both if we want to be alive. That is the beauty of living. If we want to be here, we're going to have both. I look at all of the people that I admire and that I look up to, and what I've noticed about everybody is that they all have happiness and sadness, despite whether they're very wealthy, successful, whatever it is. Everybody is going through this life with happiness and sadness, and even though it sounds a little bit selfish, it actually makes me feel better when I look at people like that and think, they've got all of this stuff, they've been so successful, but even they are going through sadness as well, and that really does help. So instead of trying to run away from your sadness, people will tell you, come on, get through it, pick yourself up. I think it's better just to embrace those feelings, accept them, and it will help you just to get through it. And it is totally normal to feel sad. It is. I know people will say to you, oh, come on, you shouldn't really be feeling this sad still, but you might be. So if you are, take it in, embrace it, and you will get through it, I promise. The next pillar that I use when I am feeling down or sad is to simplify my world and try to embrace the small pleasures of life. And I think that is a really great way to deal with things. So it's not about, I'm feeling really sad, I need to really make myself try to be happier. It's, I'm feeling really sad, and so now I need to focus on the very small things of life and really just simplify my world whilst I'm dealing with this sadness and dealing with this grief. So it may be that when you wake up in the morning, you make your bed. You're feeling a bit down, a bit crappy, but if you make your bed, make it beautifully, you've done something very simple, but something that will just set your day up for structure and as an accomplishment. I mean, when you're feeling down, the last thing you want to do is make your bed. But if you can, it's something very simple that you can do that doesn't take very long, but it really just sets up the day for, I've achieved this thing. I've got out of bed, number one, and then I've made the bed. It's calming, it's simple, it's something that you can do very easily. And then, if it's the next thing might be to get you through your day, I'm going to make myself a lovely coffee here at home. Take the time to make it beautifully, put it into a beautiful cup or a mug, have a lovely biscuit or a cookie with it, sit there, enjoy the moment. You're going to still feel sad, but it's a little small pleasure. It's these simple daily rituals that will keep your life moving forward and make you feel like there's a sense of order, a sense of calm, things that are in your control. The sad things that happen to us in life are often out of our control, but we can take that control back by just looking at the very small, simple moments of life and making them meaningful, making them beautiful, making them something that you can cherish and enjoy whilst you're going through the sadness. And there's also that thing of not rushing to get back out there and get on with life. Like I said before, people will tell you, come on, pick yourself up, get out there, try new things, do this, do that. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to simplify your world even more so that you can just deal with your grief. So rather than rushing out to go on holiday, try new things, that time will come when you've dealt with your grief a little bit more. But I think it's much better to, it was winter when I was going through this stuff, so it was the perfect opportunity for me to really enjoy just being at home. So when I was dealing with my grief, feeling sad, I would take little moments of life where in the evening I would light a beautiful candle, light a few candles so I had a beautiful glow in my home, and then I'd pour a cocktail or a glass of wine whilst I made dinner. I put my dinner onto a beautiful plate, got out some lovely cutlery, got myself a napkin, set the table. Simplify my world so that I don't have to do big, huge things, but little things to make me feel calm and happy. So yeah, simplify your world. If you want to go out and climb a mountain or do a marathon, if that makes you feel better, do it, but don't feel pressured by everybody else if they're telling you that's what you should be doing. Simplify your life, and I think you will deal with grief a lot better if you can do that. The next pillar that I use to deal with sadness and grief is to lean on the people that I love, so my friends and family. I'm very lucky. When I moved to Edinburgh, I didn't know one person, and in the 6 years that I've been here, I've managed to build a community of people who I see really as my family. When I'm making friends with people, I can quickly tell with my gut and intuition whether this person is going to be somebody who I go out with for a drink at the weekend, and it's kind of not shallow, but something, not a very deep relationship. I've got those types of friends, and I've also got the types of friends who I know are going to be my family. And I don't know whether it's because I'm a gay single man, but I've always wanted to seek out those types of friendships that are long, deep, meaningful, and family as friends. And so when I've been dealing with my sadness lately, the biggest boost that I've had are from my friends and family, because they've just rallied around me and lifted me up so high that I've just felt so supported and so loved. And I know that not everybody has that. So if you don't have it, it is going to be something a little bit more different. But even if you have one friend, one family member, somebody who you can talk to, rely on them to help you through. And I don't mean, with me, I haven't been seeing my friends and family and just bombarding them with my sadness and grief. Sometimes it's just an opportunity to talk about it for 5 minutes and then let them pick you up and take you out of that sadness by taking your mind off the thing that you're going through. You know, like I said a few weeks ago, my dear friend Anne took me out for a picnic. On the way to the picnic, we talked about some of the stuff that I was going through, and then when we got there, we sat down on a beautiful bench, we put out our picnic, and we started just talking about everything else. And for those few hours, I could get lost in her conversation, in her friendship, in her wonderful personality, and we really had a lovely time. And that for me was a really great way just to, these little moments, they slowly take away the sadness and pain so that you can move on and you realise, yeah, bad things happen in life, but look, I have this wonderful friend, lots of wonderful friends, my wonderful family, and life will get back to something a little bit more calm. So yes, spending time with your friends and your family and allowing their kindness to gently bring you back to yourself. It's very, very important. Another thing that I like to do, and this is going to be something that resonates with you or not, it's deeply personal, but I like to, as well as speaking to friends and family, I like to speak to somebody who is not involved in my life in any way, who's external, but who can help me. For example, a therapist or a counsellor. So I know it can be one of those things, especially here in the UK, that is seen as a little bit weak if you want to speak to a therapist or a counsellor. But for me, I just needed to chat with somebody who didn't know anything about my life, who doesn't know me as a person, who I can just get everything out to, who is paid to listen, and who can help me see and reframe things properly. They are a professional. They are trained to talk to you and help you to deal with pain, with grief. And that has been something that has been really great for me. So I've been going to therapy for once a week, every Friday. I come to the end of the week. It's something that I can look forward to. I can sit there, talk about anything I want, and this person can help me to see things a little bit more clearly. Sometimes your friends and family are biased towards you. They know so much about your life that sometimes it's difficult for them to separate what's actually going on with what you need to hear. Whereas a therapist, they don't really know you very well. They get to know you as time goes on, but they don't spend this extended period of time with you where they can become biased. Instead, they can look at your life, what you're telling them, and they can help you to perhaps process things a lot better and see how you can even change yourself going forward. One of the things that I've been going through recently in terms of my personal life is I've noticed that there's a pattern happening in my life where I'm attracting a certain type of person and things are happening in a certain way. And my therapist has helped me to see that perhaps you need to look inside yourself as well, and the way that you are dealing with people and the messages that you're sending out into the world, perhaps that's something that you can slightly change so that in the future there's going to be more boundaries, more standards, and then these people will not be able to come into your life so easily. So yeah, I think speaking to a therapist or a counsellor, if you can, is a really great way to help you process things and perhaps see life in a different light. So I hope that this has been useful and helpful. I mean, you might not even be going through any sadness, but for me, I always think it's nice to get another perspective, especially as this community is quite solid and strong, and we all seem to have the same outlook and perspective and appreciate the same things in life. So I just thought that it might be useful for me to share how I've dealt with things. This channel has grown and evolved so much. It started off talking about afternoon tea and all beautiful things, and then as the years have gone by, we still do touch on those subjects, but it's also become a lot deeper. And I feel that's because I feel so trusted and welcome here. So I hope that this has been useful for you in some way. And in terms of sadness and grief, for me personally now, I feel like I am coming through the other side of it. It's been a weird few months, and one of the things that I've reflected on is that my life, up until this point, has been quite steady and calm, and grief has been something that I haven't had a lot of in my life. And so another thing that has helped me is to understand that it's just going to happen to all of us in some form or another. My life has been charmed, and I've had a lot of happiness and a lot of good times, but I haven't really experienced a lot of family death. I haven't experienced a lot of heartache. My life has been quite steady and calm. But it's only natural that things are going to come, and sometimes they come all at once, just like they do with happy times. So yeah, for me, I think it was difficult because I didn't really know how to deal with this stuff, especially when it was coming all at once. So I'm really glad that I've been able to find my own way of dealing with things, and so quickly. And I have to tell you that I am feeling very happy and positive about life, about all the things that are coming. And I'm quite grateful to have gone through this hard times, because I've realised that it just makes you very, very strong and resilient. And perhaps I needed that in my life, because until now, I didn't have to be. So yeah, I'm quite quietly glad for all of the sadness that I've had recently, because it's just going to help me become a bigger, better person and able to deal with things when they come. So I was a little bit scared of grief before. I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm worried that when things start to happen, how am I going to deal with it? But now that they have, I know that I can deal with it, that it's just a part of life, and that we will get through it. We can get through the darkness and the light will return. So yeah, I'm happy to say that I'm coming through my grief. I mean, there's still going to be moments where I'm feeling down and sad over certain things, but I'm at a place now where I can think it's normal and I can deal with it, and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, I've had messages from people who've been worried about me, or, you know, if I post a photo of Sophie on Instagram, they're worried that I'm not dealing with it. But that's just me reflecting on things and enjoying. Like, a picture will come up of Sophie on my phone, and I can look at that picture and feel happiness rather than feeling grief. And I think that is the journey of grief, where you get to a point where it's acceptance, you've dealt with it, and you can move on with life in a happy way. So I just wanted to, at the end of this video, tell you that, because I don't want people to be concerned. Yes, I'm fine, and I am getting on, and I really feel like this has been a great, great thing for me. Even though it's been difficult, I feel it's been a real thing that I needed to have in my life. So yeah, I hope this video has been useful. It's something a little bit new, something that I don't really talk about. I don't really share processes of dealing with things that much, but I just thought, as I've gone through it, as you've seen me go through it, it might be a time for us to close this part off, because I feel like now it's time to move forward, move on, and spring is here. There's a lot of things, new things happening, a lot of new phases of life coming into being, and I'm really ready to embrace them and enjoy them. And I hope you will be with me too. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next time, but until then, take care of yourselves.